poisoning affects over 1 million children today. Dust from lead-based paint could cause violent behavior. If your home was built before 1978, log on to leadfreekids.org.
Good evening, this is The Art Scene. I'm your host, LILA SNOW. Tonight we have a special guest, Levon Jamgochian, who is having a show at the Glenview Mansion in Rockville. So welcome, Levon, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And
we'll start with your background. Very interesting, multicultural, multilingual background. Armenian parents who fled to Beirut, Lebanon, where you were born, and then you studied in Milan and Venice. I remember going to that art school in Milan, Brera.
Yes, Brera.
Brera. And I remember thinking the art students looked just like the Corcoran art students.
Oh, yes.
So what about that experience?
I was very fortunate when I lived in Venice for 2 years at the Academy of Fine Arts, where I was a student, and then I won a scholarship that helped me to move to Milan, and it was a great experience because Milanese art scene, it's very lively yeah. Versus to the Venetian. But during my student years, I was even more fortunate to my recollection, because not only because I was working so hard, but I had the opportunity of meeting some famous gallery directors. Then I was offered some shows while I was student, especially the last 2 years of my student years.
And so you had Italian shows?
Yes, in Milan, I had, while I was studying, before I graduated, I had a show with Carola, very famous dealer, right before I graduated.
And were you showing lithographs at that time?
Yes, no, not lithographs. I was showing oil paintings, watercolors, monotypes, and intaglio works, which most of them were done during my school year as well as in my studio.
So you've done so many mediums. You also do sculpture?
Yes, I started sculpting in Venice. The base starts in Venice, and when I moved to Milan, I didn't have the opportunity of sculpting, except I was around some famous, very great sculptors, including Manguzzi, Marino Marini. As a matter of fact, yes. I used to print Marino Marini's etchings. I used to proof them.
Oh, I love his work.
Oh yeah, I was so fortunate.
That horse in Venice at Peggy Guggenheim's.
Yes.
That's marvelous.
Yeah, I used to live right nearby Peggy Guggenheim when I was studying in Venice.
Well, Italy is like an art museum. The whole country is an art museum.
It's a fantastic place.
And so for this show at Glenview, you have, what, 91 works?
Yes.
And then sculptures are...
I have 15 wooden, carved wood sculptures, and 84, if I'm not mistaken, because we had to take few out during the hanging of the show. So this is part of the 200 pieces, the complete suite, which is called Eternity.
Yes.
It's consisted of 200 works. So since the space is limited, I had to cut down quite a bit.
So do you want to, since we're going to see some of the images, do you want to mention some of the individual pieces that you're particularly interested in?
I'll be glad to. Most of the works are focused on scenes taken from nature. And eventually, those scenes, the nature scenes, they evolve, and then they get to a point where the sanctuary images start. And in fact, there's a work, well, there are several works that called Untitled, Untitled 1, Untitled 2, or Untitled 5, etc. And those untitled pieces, that some of them are two-sided, so they were printed on both sides, and they are displayed very unique way when, if you have a chance to see the show, so you can see both sides at the same time. And the Untitled series, they actually, to get to that level, I had to do a number of proofs and studies to come to the final conclusion of the image that you will notice. And then when you look at the sanctuaries, which is part of the Untitled series, it's consisted of sanctuary image. They're mostly monotypes, monoprints. Sometimes they are combined between monotype embossing. So it's a kind of multimedia combined on the same piece.
Why did you call it Eternity?
Very good question. Life after death, you know, I believe in life after death. God created us, took a piece of dirt and blue and created Adam and Eve, etc. But I also believe, religiously speaking, that there is life after death.
I see.
And so nature around us is so unique and so beautiful, even though some of us, unfortunately, are destroying nature. So I believe that after death, we go up to the clouds, you know, we go to another life, and there's an eternal life.
I see.
So I believe nature is eternal. So the eternity in this case has a number of meanings when you focus.
Of facets. Well, I think you said something about the sculptures being weathered. So there's a time element in a sculpture. As time passes, the wood changes.
Yes.
Because of weathering. So that's an interesting way to show time passing. Why did you decide to print on both sides, which complicates displaying the work?
It doesn't. Actually, I had created this idea back in late 70s, but this is the first time I'm showing this in this series, displaying two-sided works. But to answer your question, normally we're used to seeing just one side of a work. But when you display certain places, and especially the way the works have been implemented, one side says something and the other side may say something else which is connected to one another. So if you see from one side, then you see the other side, you will notice specific connection of the image.
Well, Leonardo did that.
Yes?
He has a piece at the National Gallery displayed with both sides.
Interesting. I never knew that.
So you tend to have it's an impressive media blitz when you have a show. I saw you had an article in the Gazette, and you have catalogs. You have one catalog printed in 3 languages. It was for a show in Russia. So it has Russian, Armenian, and English. And how did that show come about?
Yes, that was a traveling exhibit sponsored by the National Gallery of Art in Armenia and the Ministry of Culture. That was one of my biggest experiences in my life, which lasted almost 3 years, from '89 through 1992. And
it started in Russia and then traveled?
No, it started in Yerevan in Armenia,
I see.
then went to Moscow, then eventually went to Kiev, which was the most successful experience of my life.
Kiev is a cultural center.
Oh, it's a great place, and it was received in such great, the people, the public, and the media purchases, and this was in conjunction to my donation towards the earthquake.
Yeah, this was '89 to '90, and it's dedicated to the Armenian earthquake survivors.
Yes, and I was trying to raise about $4 million, and all the works were donated towards that cause, and to form and found International Graphic Center, Museum, Hotel in Leninakan, which is Gyumri today, which was where they had the major earthquake in 1988.
1988 was the earthquake.
Yes.
Well, this is a handsome catalog.
Thank you.
And then you also have Unity and is Strength, and that was 81, 82. Tell us something about
that's a very unusual experience that I had at the time when I printed here in this area. They were mostly lithographs, embossings, and a couple other mediums combined, and it has traveled extensively, the suite in Europe, and I've received highly successful results, including in Russia, here in the States, in Florida. And in fact, part of the donations that I had given with the works, right now, that series is in a museum in Leninakan, in Gyumri, the whole collection, 18 pieces.
You have a quote from William Saroyan in this catalog.
I got to know him personally.
Oh,
he was a great person.
That's wonderful. And this Odyssey, well, that's the 80 to 84. So I just wanted to ask you about some of this press release. Circumstances in nature may be tragic, but it is the only background for humanity in which to live. Could you expand on that?
That article that was written recently by Miss Anna Tanosian had appeared in an LA paper. I believe she's referring to part of my works, which I've done right now. It's in my exhibit. Some areas of the works which were very noticeable in the beginning as trees or haystacks and scenes of nature. At one point, while I was going through metamorphosis of the images, those trees or fields and so forth, they changed into shapes of rocks or even shapes of human bodies. And when you look at those images, they're very dramatic and very tragic looking. It depends how the viewer sees them. And I believe that's what she's referring to.
Well, you came to the States in '72. You had a wonderful idea to have your talented son, 15-year-old violinist, play at the opening reception at Glenview Mansion. So that show is in Rockville. It's up until March 1st, and it's just been a great pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
So thank you to our special guest, Levon Jamgochian, and I'll see you next time on the art scene. This is LILA SNOW.
Mom, I'm not gonna go to college.
Yes.
No.
You will go to college.
Their tomorrow depends on your words today.
Do you like this top? It's so gay. Really? Yeah, it's totally gay.
You know, you really shouldn't say that.
Say what?
Well, say that something's gay when you mean it's bad. It's insulting. What if every time something was bad, everybody said, "Oh, that's so girl wearing a skirt as a top"?
Oh, you are.
Those are cute jeans, though. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.